Not all economists believe that fiscal policy works as we have just described. Some economists bring up the subject of crowding out. Crowding out is a decrease in private expenditures, that is, consumption, investment, etc., as a consequence of increased government spending or the financing needs of a budget deficit. Let's see how it goes. The government spends more on social programs, infrastructure building, defense, basic education, basic healthcare without increasing taxes, especially in times of recession to generate more employment. As a result, the size of the budget deficit increases. Consequently, the government must borrow more funds to finance the larger deficit. This increase in borrowing causes the demand for credit, that is, the demand for loanable funds, to rise, which in turn causes the interest rate to rise. Please recall, if the interest rates increase, the firms have lesser incentive to make investments. As a result, investment drops. More government spending indirectly leads to less investment spending. The exact drop in investment because of increase in government spending is not very clearly defined. To explain this, the economists have defined three basic types of crowding out. Let's see each of them one by one. The first one is zero crowding out or no crowding out. Example, government spends $2 billion more and private sector spends stay constant. In the exhibit, the economy is initially at point 1 with real GDP at Q1. In Keynesian theory, expansionary fiscal policy shifts the aggregate demand curve to AD2 and moves the economy to point 2. Among other things, the implicit assumption is that there is zero crowding out, that is, no crowding out. Notice that real GDP has increased from Q1 to Qn. It follows that the unemployment rate will fall from its level at Q1 to a lower level at Qn. Summary: if there is no crowding out, expansionary fiscal policy increases real GDP and lowers the unemployment rate. The second type is complete crowding out. Government spends $2 billion more and private sector spends $2 billion less. In the case of complete crowding out, a fall in private expenditures completely offsets the initial stimulus in aggregate demand due to increased government spending, and the aggregate demand curve does not move, that is, on net, at all. Notice that real GDP does not change and neither does the unemployment rate. Summary: if there is complete crowding out, expansionary fiscal policy has no effect on the economy. The economy remains at point 1. The last one is incomplete crowding out. Government spends $2 billion more and private sector spends $1.2 billion less. With incomplete crowding out, the aggregate demand curve shifts, that is, on the net, only to AD2 because a fall in private expenditures partially offsets the initial stimulus in aggregate demand due to increased government spending. The economy moves to point 2. Notice that real GDP has increased from Q1 to Q2. It follows that the unemployment rate will fall from what it was at Q1 to what it is at Q2. Also notice that the changes in both real GDP and the unemployment rate are smaller with incomplete crowding out than they are with zero crowding out. Summary: given incomplete crowding out, expansionary fiscal policy increases real GDP and lowers the unemployment rate, but not as much as if there is zero crowding out.